Bracing. Intra-abdominal pressure. If you've been going over to see them at CCRC, you know they're talking about that all the time. I.A.P. Now, there's two things that I want to explain to you specifically about intra-abdominal pressure, because bracing is generally the term that everybody uses, okay? What I want you to imagine when we talk about bracing is I want you to imagine a tire, the tire on your car, okay? The tension of the rubber of the tire is like all the muscles that we have wrapped around our core and our trunk in a cylinder. And what do we do with that tire? We fill it up with air. And when it hits the appropriate tension relationship between the rubber tire tension and the amount of PSI, air that we put into the tire, all of a sudden, our tire floats on air, and we don't have to worry about hitting the bumper, messing up the shock, right? Your trunk operates in the same way. So when we create intra-abdominal pressure, it's that breath in, and then the tension of the tire to create that stability. And that's the stability that we use when we are strength training. When I'm laying on the floor and I'm asleep, well, none of these muscles are working. But the moment I decide to get up, sit up, roll over, push up off the ground, right? All of a sudden, it has to stabilize and get tight. Now, we do this autonomously. We're not thinking about it. But we have to start thinking about it when I'm walking over to pick up a kettlebell that weighs 100 pounds. I need to understand how to do this well so that when I go down to pick up my 6-year-old daughter, or 5-year-old daughter, not 6 yet, right? Thank God, right? And toss her in the air, I know how to do this without re-aggravating an injury that occurred quite a bit of time ago. So understanding bracing is incredibly important. So the second one that we want to work on now is I.A.P, some bracing. So we're going to get down on the floor. I want you to lay on your back. Your knees are going to be bent, and your feet are going to be flat on the floor. And then guess what? Those hands are going to go in the same spot, just below the ribs. Good. Thumbs cueing into the back just a little bit. Your fingers are pressing into the obliques, right into the rectus. And what I want you to do is you're going to breathe in this position. I want you to take 3 more breaths. Okay? Breathe 3 more times. You see, good posture. You feel yourself breathing in and exhaling out. Relaxing the shoulders. The shoulders are down away from the ears. Good. And as you finish your 3rd breath, I want you to answer the question in your own mind. When you are breathing in right now, are you feeling like you could contract and breathe behind a tight trunk? So take a deep breath in, and then I want you to exhale all the way down to the bottom of that breath and feel how tight your core gets. Exhale all the way down. No more air left. Everybody's abs right now should be on, yes? Keep that tension. Brace that belly, and then use the diaphragm to breathe that air in all the way through your lungs down to your pelvic floor. So you will feel tight core expand with the air pressure coming into the trunk. And I want you to breathe like that 3 times. Breathe in deep behind that tension, mindful of where it's going in your lungs or in your chest. Good. 1 more. Good. And I want you to pause for a second. So what I want you to be aware of, you got to bring your awareness to this piece. Are you able to maintain that contraction through the full breath? Most people, when you start this out, cannot maintain that contraction through a full breath. They breathe in with the tension, but the moment they start exhaling, boom, all of a sudden they let it go. That will become a problem when you are lifting weights. If you can't maintain that tension up and down with the weight, there's going to be a breakdown. So we safely can practice this way. Keep your hands right where they are on your trunk. Bring your feet and knees together. And then I'm going to have you lift your feet up off the floor into the tabletop position. Your knees should be stacked right over your hips. Now the quick scan, do you have a small arch in your lower back? If you do, imagine that my hand slides under your back between your spine and the floor, and I want you to smash my hand. Oh, everybody just made an adjustment. Guess what? Your core is on, okay? Now, take a breath in, Exhale again, all the way down to the bottom of that breath. Feel the core get tight. Relax your shoulders. Oh, good move, I saw you. And with that tension at the bottom of the breath, I need you to take 3 more breaths. And I want that air to push up, out, and down into the ground with every breath, with those legs floating. And the work, the rep, is being able to take a full breath while staying just tight enough to maintain position. I don't hear deep breaths anymore. I hear a little short. Take a deep breath. That's the work. And don't fall asleep. See you yawning. And when you're done, go ahead and bring those feet down. Okay? So go ahead and sit up for a second. How is that different? Is that different for anybody than what you might normally be doing when you're prepping to lift? Significantly? What do you feel that is different?
Just that pushing that.
Yeah.
Down.
Yes.
Well, being aware of it too. Just being aware of how you're breathing.
Yeah, right? We spend so much time, like when I was recovering is when I got introduced to Pilates. And it changed my whole philosophy on the strength training and the breathing and the bracing piece. Because I was always taught, brace as hard as you can. And I cannot tell you how wrong that is, how wrong that has been. So when you start to understand the ability to control that, that will show up everywhere. And it will be there, and you won't even have to think about it. Okay? Perfect. Any questions about I.A.P, intra-abdominal pressure, or bracing? Yes, dear.
I'm still being told in most classes to inhale or bring my belly away from my shirt.
Hollowing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I will say is there's 2 things. One, if you are not someone who understands both the anatomy and the physiology of this and then the actual performance aspect of it, you will do, like in swimming, they would say like hollow out. So they'd go like this concept, right? What they should be saying is they should be telling you, it should be a 360-degree contraction. So what they're trying to say is brace the belly and create that intra-abdominal pressure. What they will end up saying, if they're novice or they're not quite sure, is they'll just tell you bring your navel to your spine. And you'll end up going like this, but we're not doing anything else. And now, I become kyphotic. I'm rounding forward, and that's going to create more problems. Does that make sense? So understanding what they should be saying, in theory, is correct because you do want the navel to pull in towards the spine, but you don't want to do it by itself. It has to be a global contraction. Good, good.